Hello YouTube fans, here again, and I thought I'd do this one during the 80s marathon. It comes up with science and everything else. The third Rambo film to go on my action marathon, jumping into 1988, Rambo 3. Now at the time, Sylvester Stallone was only going to do 2 Rambo films and so on, right? And you know, he did Cobra, did a lot of other films that'd be over the top. At the time, he was splitting up with his wife, being Pixie Nixon. And he was having a tough time and he wanted a pot set. It was something to keep his mind occupied. So as he says in the film, fuck it. In other words, what he meant by that is he decided to go for a third Rambo film. And as the trailer said, this time it's for his friend. And it's a good one. I love this one. No faults of it. Sadly to say, though, over the days, it wasn't as successful as First Blood, wasn't as successful as First Blood Part 2, Rambo, wasn't as successful. But I don't know why, because I think this, in my eyes, is an underestimated third Rambo film. I really do. And the thing else about this film is, it's ultra-violent. Unlike 1 and 2, there's a bit of shooting people up in number 2, but not really a lot when you think about it. Rambo 3 decided to hell with it, let's go for Pulse. Let's go for Pulse. This was the time when Iraq and Saddam Hussein and all them that were in power, and you had the Russians in power. And people said, well, Russians made peace with the Americans, I find funny now. But let's not forget, right? Let's not forget, this was like before that was been ousted, before the Berlin Wall got knocked down and so on, right? So that's one way I can offend the film, right? And the next thing is, Rambo, like I said, Sylvester Stallone was making it big. He did the Titan series in the mid-80s, and Shy decided he wanted a pod set. You know, he split up with his wife, he was having a shitty time. He pumped out, worked out, got a lot of muscle for the role, and decided to go for a third Rambo. You know, at the time, there was a lot of Rambo spin-offs, a lot of Rambo rip-offs. He decided to go for the third one. Now, I do know originally Rambo was going to get killed off in this. Happy to say that got altered. There was a deleted scene, a deleted ending, where he leaves with the Taliban, the Iraqs, which was the good Iraqs, but recently the Taliban was like the peaceful war, and they had the Russian war, right? And he leaves, and he goes with them. Happy to say you don't get that ending, nor do you get the ending where Rambo gets killed. But what you do get is a satisfying film, because it's to do with that war, right? And the Colonel, it starts off with the Colonel's looking for Rambo, and you've got this tacit opening where they're doing stick fighting. Pretty cool. So they never did that in any other film. They have this stick fighting competition. Rambo's all pumped up. You can tell he worked out for this. All the stars that we all remember in First Blood, and a little bit in First Blood Part 2. He's got all them on his body, stick fighting. You think that this guy's got the better of Rambo, but then Rambo gets the better of him. You think he's going to kill him, but he doesn't. Does the honourable thing, helps him up. Then the Colonel wants him, meets up with him, and asks him, does he want to go and help out again? He did it in First Blood Part 2. Can he help out again? There's this war going on. Funny thing is, you get one die in it. If you remember Robocop, the one that made the main villain in Robocop, he's actually in this film as one of the Colonels, and they send him out on a mission, and he says, my mission's over. He don't want to do it no more. He's happy doing the stick fighting. Is happy helping out building this bead monarchy. Really a lot of beautiful scenery in this bit. So the Colonel decides, hell with it, I'll go myself. Long below, he gets taxed. These are like proper Russians, you know, army wear, big machine guns, the lot, and they get the better of him. And he gets taxed. So this other guy out of Robocop, I've got him that again, turns around, tells him what's happened. It's ultimately really disturbing pictures and all, which really just bring out to what war is all about. Kids, Sam's legs blowing off. Really horrible pictures. But Rambo decided to hell with it. It's his mate. He's helped him out a few times. He owes him back, so he decides to go on his own on this thing. This is what I'm going to say. It's all cheesy. It's over the top. You know what? The hell with it. I love it. It's an action film. Get over it. This film has real tanks, real helicopters, real explosions. You are never, ever, ever going to see it ever again. Never going to see it. Everything's CGI. Everything is computer effects. This, you've got real helicopters, real tanks, Rambo on an horse with a flipping firebomb. And I love it. So yeah, I love the bit where he goes in this market and he's getting all this armor and he's got this light and he says, "What does it do? This dye? It's a blue light. What does it do? Turns blue." And I love it. You got one kid in it. You got in real life that this kid didn't get along with Sylvester Stallone. Why? I don't know. But there's this kid. I find him a bit annoying. He keeps mouthing Rambo. What's this? What's that? But there's a bit in it where Rambo's breaking in to help his Colonel at first, and you've got that here, people being tortured, which in reality, that's what was going on in war. This war, as we all know, in real life, is not glamorous. And this definitely portrays it what it is. People being tortured, they're being wounded, they're being whatever, you know what I mean? But Rambo sort of gets wounded, so he fails to save him the first time. But I do love the bit when he pulls his bullet out, really graphic, gruesome scene. Loved to know how they did the effect. Same as how I loved how they did the effect in First Blood, where he sticks his arm up. Same as with this one. But he puts gunpowder on the room, gets light, blows it out, proper man style. But he kicks ass. He comes back. I don't know, the bit before when they're playing this hockey sort of game, this dead wild pig for some reason, don't ask me why. They're throwing it about and the rats get shot up by the Russians, right? The Taliban gets shot up. And you've got this one guy in it, he's one of the leaders, who tells Rambo, he says, "That's why I don't help you, because at the end of the day, we'll get wiped out." So you've got that here, Rambo's a one-man soldier, as Ronald Reagan said once in his speech. But we really do need a Rambo. And in this stage, it definitely does need a Rambo. So he goes to save his Colonel again. You've got this big guy, and if you think you've seen him before, he played in Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone. He plays a big Russian guy in this. And like I say, he manages to get his Colonel out this time. You think he's going to get outnumbered. I love the scene where he says, "They've outsmarted us, haven't they? What are we going to do, John? Fuck them." And I just love it. He goes out, he's shooting people left, right, and centre. They think that Rambo's going to get wiped out with his Colonel. Then the Taliban come, decided to help Rambo, and I love it. And this is the one where I do, may this actor rest in peace. The one that plays the Colonel, we all remember him in First Blood Part 2. This is the one where I must say I have more screen time. I get right offence there. More screen time with Sylvester Stallone as Rambo. Because in First Blood, you never really meets him until what? Nearly at the end. He's only helping out the cops to get Rambo till he gets him all out of Dodge, basically. First Blood Part 2, yeah, he's here there talking to Cy. But Biz amount of time, he's not really with him that much. In this, he's with him a hell of a lot more. And it's kind of a sad way, it's the last one you see him in, because as we know, when Rambo, the one in, I could call it Rambo 4, whatever you want to call it, he couldn't do that because we all know he sadly passed away, which is a damn shame. But I do love to see where they outsmart him. Love to see where Rambo's got a tank and the villain's got an air attack. They both took one another, explosions. That would have been the bit I imagine they would have originally going to kill Shy. I happen to say that isn't the case. Comes out alive. They ride off the devil, which I love that ending a hell lot more than him riding off the dear Chinatown. He says, "You know what, Rambo? I think we're getting too soft." A little bit. And I just love the music at the end. "It's not heavy, is my brother." I love that song. We all remember the song, classic song from the 60s. I do love the version, what they use in the end of the Rambo film. I think it went with a smart. All Rambo films, yeah. But to me, First Blood Part 2 and Rambo, I love it. I do love it. I do know, like First Blood, there was a lot of deleted scenes. There's a deleted scene where these Talitans are having a wedding and one guy doesn't agree with it because what's going on. There's a lot more where the Colonel's being tortured. There's, like I said, there's the original ending. There's definitely a lot more deleted scenes in this as well. There's a bit. I do wish there's one scene in it though where Rambo's sharpening this knife and he's whacking it and burning it and making it extra sharp, which was a deleted scene, but I do believe they used in the next Rambo film in 2008, being Rambo 4, or he's got it Rambo, gets confusing at that bit. They did use that scene in that, but it was originally in Rambo 3 where he's sharpening his knife and making it a stronger knife. So the same didn't use it in this one. But it is what it is. I do love the ending. Sadly to say it wasn't as successful as Steel for 2, but you know, I mean, they did make a video game back in the day. And all it is, I think this is an underestimated film. Think about it, you've got an helicopter, you've got a tank, dogfighting, you've got real horses, real explosions. The bad guy, that big 8-foot guy, gets hold of Rambo. Rambo wraps a freaking whip round his neck, knocks him over. He gets blown up. I love the fact he has the arrows again, the hard-tipped arrows. He runs up, classic scene, shoots the villain. Have you ever seen the opening of Rambo for Life? I love that scene where he runs out, fires an arrow, and blows up the helicopter. You're never going to see that anymore in action films. Never. And it's a damn shame. Yeah, it's political, it's about war, but it's also an action film. It's an action film. It's turn your brain off film. But into then, I'll do more action films and more things on the way. Into them, be smart, be safe, and I'll see you later.